Cam got hit.
Hey, what's going on, folks? This is CJ here, and I'm coming to you to talk about the 2018 movie The Predator, which is directed by Shane Black, written by Fred Dekker and Shane Black, and stars Boyd Holbrook, Trevante Rose, Olivia Munn, Keegan-Michael Key, Sterling K. Brown, and Thomas Jane. This movie is interesting in the fact that you're talking about the Predator franchise. You're talking about a franchise that, for all intents and purposes, has always been pretty consistent. Like, taking the AVP films off the table, because I feel the Alien vs. Predator films didn't do a good job with both the Aliens and Predators. So taking those movies off the table, I've always felt that the Predator franchise has always stayed consistent in what it is throughout the three movies up to this point. And I'll include the fourth as I get into this review. But I always felt that it stayed the course in knowing what it is. Versus the Alien franchise, where, you know, it peaked at Aliens, and then you had Aliens 3, which is a source of contention with a lot of Aliens fans. You know, Alien Resurrection, which was just bad for just a whole host of reasons. And then you get Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? So with the Predator franchise, I always felt that they've been consistent in with the narrative they're trying to weave and tell and such. You know, because the thing about these Predator films has always been the mystery of the Predator. You know, when you start off with Predator 1, you didn't know what this Predator creature was. You were kind of figuring it out as the movie went. And then you get into Predator 2, which, you know, it wasn't as iconic as Predator 1, but I felt it did a pretty good job of elaborating on the lore, because you can't just have an alien out here and not have some sort of government agency picking up on that. And Aliens 2 picked up on that, and we also learned a little bit about the Predator and stuff. In particular, the fact that the Predator has been coming to Earth for quite some time, as Danny Glover's character found out at the end of Predator 2. And then you had Predators, which further elaborated on the Predator lore and the fact that now the Predators are transporting people from Earth to this, you know, hunting planet and stuff. And you also find out that there's different, you know, there's different tribes within the Predator faction, that some of them hunt each other and some of them are just on the lower spectrum and stuff. So Predators was interesting in showing that aspect to it and such. So now we got the Predator, which, you know, overall as a movie, to me, I think it worked. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good action movies for what it is and stuff. It had some issues and such, and I guess if we're going to start it off, one of the issues is I wish that Hollywood, if you're going to do this thing where you have your characters be on the spectrum, or you have a child that's on the spectrum of autism, you got to do it right. I feel last year one of the movies that did autism right was the Power Rangers movie. They really nailed autism to the T and stuff. And the problem with this movie is that you have this kid, I think he's played by Jacob Tremblay. You know, he plays Rory McKenna. He's Quinn McKenna's son, and Rory, he has autism and he gets bullied. And the way they key into his autism is just the aspect of, you know, he's learning all these new languages and he picks up on these things real quick. You know, at one point at the beginning, the school bullies pull the fire alarm and stuff, and he's all freaking out because of loud noises. But my problem with this movie and a lot of other movies is that they give you this idea of this kid having autism, and then by like midway through the movie, it's just gone. Like, it's just an afterthought. And to me, it's like, to me, with this kid, which I didn't have a problem with the kid, if you're gonna, instead of making him autism, just make him super smart. I mean, there are a lot of super smart kids. You can make him very super smart, and he's able to pick up on those things. And we, as the general audience, will let it fly. But we'll let it go because there are a lot of super smart kids at a younger age and stuff. We can. I think it's a situation of Shane Black not trusting that the general audience will basically be like, all right, this could work, kind of thing, you know. And I'm sitting up there like, he didn't really need to be autistic. He could have just made him just a very super smart kid that can pick up on these kind of languages, and it would have been fine. One of the other negative aspects of this film is that the special effects is very hit or miss. One of the key things about the Predator franchise has always been its practical effects, particularly with the Predator. Other than just when the Predator is cloaked, the Predator has always been a very practical effect type of creature. And, you know, in Predators, you saw some special effects, particularly with the dogs when they're running after the bad guys and stuff, and they're shooting them up, because, you know, hey, you got to show the dogs running real fast and stuff, attacking them. So hey, that's fine. You know, that movie came in at a situation where you can do that. With this movie, the special effects is very hit or miss. Like, now, I say this because this movie cost $88 million to make. I look at Predators, and that's a movie that cost $40 million to make. The $40 million makes sense that it cost to make because, I mean, let's just be real about this and such. You don't really have to do much with the Predator franchise, and with this one, it's $88 million. And you kind of see where the $88 million goes, but there are times where the special effects doesn't really hold up. In particular, with the Predator dogs, they make their return, and there's an iffy part where they're shooting at one of the dogs, and it's just the special effects isn't blending well with the soldiers shooting at them and stuff. It doesn't blend too well. The Alpha Predator is another one that is hit or miss. I think the concept of it, and there were times where the Alpha Predator looked really good, but then there were also times where it looked wonky as I don't know what. So on the special effects front, it was very hit or miss, and I think that took the movie down a notch on that level because there was no consistency with what you were getting out of it. Like, don't get it twisted, the Alpha Predator looked pretty good for the story they were telling, because with the Alpha Predator, it's something that I believe the Predator 2 elaborated on, in the fact that the makeup of the Predator was of different species and such. And what you find out in this movie is that the Alpha Predator is a makeup of a lot of things. And like I said, it works, but like I said, with the special effects for it and stuff, some scenes it works, some scenes it doesn't. You know, it is what it is. I will also say missed opportunities. That's another thing for me, because you had Jake Busey. Jake Busey plays Sean Keyes. Now, you might be saying, Sean Keyes, who is he? Peter Keyes was a character played by Jake Busey in Predator 2. And he's part of a special task force that was there to capture the Predator and stuff. Now, the great thing about this movie is the fact that this group, they actually are existing in this world, led by Sterling K. Brown. He plays Will Traeger, which we'll get into in a minute. But my thing is, you have all these callbacks to the previous movies, and with that character, Jake Busey, you could have really did some elaboration with him to an extent to really get that connection there. And this, maybe you could say this is a personal thing for me. It was a personal thing for me. It would have been nice to see them elaborate a little bit more with that, because if you're doing all these callbacks, like Get to the Chopper, and you're bringing up stuff that happened in the original Predator and then also Predator 2, and you do those little subtle callbacks to Predators, it would have been nice to do that little callback with him and stuff. So that's there. So positives. I feel the overall story of what they were trying to do worked. You over the course of the movie, you were telling the story and kind of giving this kind of thing of like, okay, what's going on here? And you have one Predator that comes to, that breaks up, Quinn McKenna, played by Boyd Holbrook's character. He's shooting at the Mexican cartels, and this predator ship lands and fucks up everything and stuff, and basically, you know, everything, that's when they're off to the races and such. And you're thinking at first it's a situation of kind of like Predators, where you have this one predator lands on Earth and the other predators are just there to hunt him down and stuff. It turns out it's something else entirely different, where you come to find out that the predator came to Earth to kind of give the humans a leg up against the predators, because one of the things about predators is that they go to different planets to hunt the best of the best. And what I enjoyed, if you've ever read the comics of the 90s with the predators, is that they always had a certain level of respect for the humans or anybody else that had bested them and stuff. But there was always that faction of predators that didn't really particularly enjoy that and stuff. And that's kind of what I like about Predators too, especially with the ending with Danny Glover, is that he beats the predator and then the other predators respect that, like, well, he beat him fair and square, hell, you know. And that's that. So with this, it was an interesting angle in the fact that you have a certain faction of predators that don't like the aspect of, oh, you guys are cheating to win. We need to give these humans a leg up on this since you guys are clearly doing this. And it's an interesting angle to me. And I know some people might not like it. I think other people will probably like that lore aspect to it. And I feel that they did a pretty good job of kind of building up to that point. Because you really don't know what the hell the deal is and stuff up until that little bit of a tidbit drops in the film. And, you know, you have Olivia Munn's character, who I gotta say, I think Olivia Munn got a bit of a bad shake when it came to this whole thing with Shane Black and the whole, you know, child predator thing and stuff in the film. I think she got a bad break. I think it's unfortunate, the bullshit that she get in there and stuff. I just wanted to kind of put that out there because I know a lot of reviews mention that, but I don't want to really sit on that too much because I don't really feel it plays much of a factor. But I will say, watching this movie, I don't think in particular that scene they got cut because of the child predator, I don't think it would have added anything to the fucking movie. So there's that. But also, backing up though to what I was saying about the bad things and stuff real quick before I get back to the good things. The jokes are very hit or miss in this film. I think that there's some jokes that land and there's some jokes that don't land. So there's that. You know, it's one of those things where I feel Shane Black was really just kind of throw a bunch of jokes at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I'm a little mad that I missed that first time out. So anyways, a good thing. So you have this lore that's built up. You have Olivia Munn playing Casey Brackett. She's this biologist who is helping out Sterling K. Brown, and she's really elaborating on this predator and stuff and the aspect of what they represent and stuff. And you really, and I really like her character and how she's really intrigued by what the predators are and stuff. And it's actually pretty interesting and stuff. And like I said, you know, it's weird to me that a lot of reviews really put it out there that she doesn't do much, but she does do a lot. She does help out. She does play her part and stuff. And I think they've used her pretty well. I think they could have tweaked certain things about her that would have made it a little bit tighter and better, but for what we got, she worked and it was fine. She held her own, especially opposite of Boyd Holbrook, you know, and stuff. She both of them played off each other pretty well and such. You got these group of kind of delinquent soldiers that Quinn recruits. One of them being Nebraska Williams, played by Trevante Rhodes, does a really good job as that character. I would love to see him do a lot more action films because I think he did a pretty good job of playing like the friend and the guy that's just, you could see him really coming to his own and really do a phenomenal job in that role and just carrying the action and stuff. I want to see more of him. You got Thomas Jane, Keegan-Michael Key, Alfie Allen, Augusto Aguilera and stuff. All of them, they're part of this little group and stuff, and delinquents. And Keegan and Thomas Jane, they really have a good connection. They're both military veterans who suffered from PTSD and stuff, and they have a little bit of a connection there and stuff. And it's funny as I don't know what. The whole group, I want to see more of that kind of group in these Predator films, and they work together really, really well and stuff. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. I guess Sterling Brown as Will Traeger. Sterling Brown, you know, up to this point, you know, if you ever watch Hotel Artemis, he has a range to him, And, you know, up to this point, he's always played these very stoic characters that have a bit of a small sensitivity to him and such. And I like it in this movie. He plays a straight up villain. And you could say that he's cheesy about it. It's whatever. I think that he worked as the villain of this film. He worked perfectly. I want to see more Sterling K. Brown as an evil villain. It worked. You know, going back to the kid had his moments and stuff. Like I said, I would prefer it if they just said the kid was super smart. That's just me. But yeah, just the movie overall. You know, there's even some of the music in the movies it's all right. You know, like I said, a lot of it is called back to the original Predator movie, and I really feel in this film that Shane Black was really trying to do a lot in this film in terms of lore building off the Predators and also elaborating on certain aspects of what the humans could actually do. And on the human aspect of it, it hits that line. It doesn't quite cross that line of doing too much humans, but it hits that line where it's like, all right, movie, can we get some more Predator action? And then they finally give you the Predator action and stuff. It could have used a little bit more Predator action and stuff in terms of the interactions, but for what we got, it worked. You know, it wasn't... I saw somebody put out the fact that it's on the level of the 2014 Godzilla film. No, it's not. You get way more Predator interaction than that film had with Godzilla and stuff. You know, this film, the Predator, when he made his appearance, and he made his presence known. And if anything, I wanted to see more of the Uber Predator. That's the key thing, and that's the thing too, is that I felt that the special effects, I said it was very hit or miss on the bad, but on the good side, I love the practical effects on the actual original Predator. I'm curious to see whether with this Uber Predator, if there was a little bit of a practical effects and also special effects too, because I like the design and makeup of this Uber Predator, and you know what you get out of how this big Uber Predator came to be. I want to know more about it. And I think that's what the movie does. It gives you a tease of what it could possibly be, and then it leaves you wanting more. And I think that's something else that could be a hit or miss with a lot of folks. It could be a hit for some folks. It could be a hit with a lot of other folks as well. So, you know, it might miss for people, hit for others, but I think that's the grand culmination of what this movie is. It's a movie that has a lot of ideas, and more often than not, it nails it, and then other times, in the other side of it, it misses. But I think the hits that it does hit, it more than makes up for what it misses and stuff. But your mileage is going to vary on that end, so that's what it is. If I had to give it any sort of grade, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's one of those movies that you will definitely enjoy, and you know, I particularly don't. I will say this: I saw it on a regular movie screen, nothing IMAX and stuff. I think I saw it Dolby Digital. That's why I saw it on, and it looked phenomenal on that and stuff. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to it. I think if you are a fan of the Predator franchise, you will probably get some enjoyment out of it. I also feel if you're also a huge hardcore Predator fan, there are certain things that you'll probably feel that they dropped the ball on and they could have did better on. But overall, I think it's a pretty good addition to the Predator franchise and stuff. So that in mind, 7 out of 10, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Perfect.